Okay, so I have my cake here. I usually like to work with my cake when it's warm. It's been sitting for a while and the house is cold, so it's not warm anymore. A lot of people, I've seen them take the edges and things off. I'm gonna go ahead and do that, only because it's not warm, so it may crumble a lot more on the edges. So I'm just gonna take my hand and just pull this off. Am I gonna throw this out? Of course not, because I like the crunchy part of the cake. We don't leave any cake behind. I don't know, one thing I like about making cake pops is like, it's not a pretty thing, so it's like you get to get your hands in there and it's like, oh. So I'm gonna move this pan out the way. And what you do is you just crumble it on up in a bowl. It's kind of therapeutic. I think that's why I like making them. And my kids love to eat them. And this cake is so moist. So moist. When you feel like you have it fine enough, then that's when you add your icing in. You know this. So this cake was not hard to crumble at all. And then we're gonna take this weird looking icing in it. You know what? It's not so bad of a color. I could have made that look really pretty. Especially if I would have paired it with some of the other just regular cream without color. That would have been pretty. So now I know if I want like a, I don't know what you would call this. You know what I would call this color? I would call it eggplant. That's what it looks like. And here comes the fun part. And this is why you want to have on gloves, even if you're just making this for your family. Let me tell you, I've done this without gloves, and it sticks to your hands, and it doesn't come together very well with the cake. It's like it just wants to bond with your hands. I think it's the oils in the cake wants to just bond with your hands. Okay, so you're probably wondering how much cake this is, right? So I have not been making homemade cakes lately, only because I don't want to. And I have not found the red velvet that I love, recipe that I loved. So this, I made one box, and what I do, I alter the cake mix. See, I don't have enough icing in there. So what I do is I alter the cake mix. I add an extra egg, and I don't add water. I add milk, and that gives it a much creamier flavor. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know I'm not a neat cook by any means. I'm not a neat baker either. And that's okay. And it's okay if you're not either. But anyway, I made one box of cake, red velvet cake. And then out of that, I made 12 cupcakes. And the rest of it, I poured into the baking pan. And that's what this is. So they say you're supposed to get 24 cupcakes out of it. So I would assume that this is half of the box. Now, with that being said, you know, I add extra ingredients, and so it may make a little bit more than 24 cupcakes. But we'll just say it is 24 cupcakes. Okay, you see how that is binding together? It's just so squishy. how cool. I love it. Okay, so once it gets like that, you're gonna put it in your molds. Now there's two ways to do this. One is you can line your chocolate first, let it cool, but that's a different video. Baker's treat. Now see, you know that you have this, that it's moist enough when you can just add to it and it forms right on in with the other mixture that's already there. Now you want to make sure you pack these in really tight, especially making sure that you fill the top of there and the bottoms down here, because since there's no coating on there in the molds first, you want to make sure that they're really formed and they're tightly formed. Your weak parts are down here. And this part down here, I'll lift this up to show you. See how that is? Right now, we'll put these in the refrigerator for a while. I like to put them in the refrigerator for about an hour or in the freezer for about 15 minutes. Some people do less, but I find that the more solid the oils get, the stiffer it is. The stiffer your cake pop will be. I gotta clean up, guys. Another weak part is up here, right at the top there. So I can tell that it needs more. So I push that in there. See there, you can see the lip of the mold. We don't want that. I like to put my sticks in last. I know some people put them in first, but I find that when I put them in first, then I'm trying to make sure that the underside of the stick has cake under there, and I'm not always sure. And I always seem to have just enough. Now, what's going to happen is when I put the sticks in there, I may have too much. Like this one already looks like there's too much. So I'll take it and come fill it over here. Now, I may have, like this one looks too small. I don't know if I want to do that. See, I always have just enough, and then I put my foot in my mouth. We'll see. We'll get the sticks and put the sticks in and see what happens. Okay. Get the sticks. These are the little cake pop sticks or cakesicle sticks. They came with the molds, and you can get them extras. I get extras at Michael's. Don't forget to use your 50% off coupon at Michael's. We're gonna be short one. Guys, if this is your first time doing this, be patient with yourself, okay? Take your time. Be patient. You got to figure out what works for you. First time I made Cakesicles, I was like, are you kidding me? I'm not doing that again. I wasted so much product because I found the other way doesn't work for me. This works for me. But like I said, I also found what works for me is letting them sit in the freezer or the refrigerator for a much longer time than most people do, because I know that that hardens up the oils that are in the cake mixture, right? So your cake is either made with butter or vegetable oil or some type of oils, right? Some type of fat. And when fats get cold, they solidify, which means get hard, and they take form, right? So the longer I let them sit in the refrigerator, the firmer they will get. And then when I dip them in the chocolate, I'll thin my chocolate out with my Easy Thin, and then they'll be good. And I like to make sure they're really packed in there tight. That way I get a really nice form on the other side, because it's kind of rounded on the other side and this side is flat. Okay, I'm gonna turn off this video because I'm gonna let these sit in the oven in the refrigerator for a while, and then we'll come back. And I wanna hurry up and do this because I don't want them to get warm. I want them to stay cold. Lift these up and push it out at the same time with a stick. I hold my fingers under here and push with the stick as I lift up. I'm gonna put these back in the refrigerator for a while. I did not put these in the freezer. I put them in the refrigerator. So I'm going to put them back in the refrigerator, probably for an hour or so. See how that was weak there? It'll be okay. Because I'm going to let them get cold. I have found the trick is trying not to manipulate the actual cake pop at all. Look at that. See, that's okay because it's so moist. I've got so much of that bonding frosting in there that once it gets cold, it'll bond together. So don't freak out, okay? Don't freak out. Just form it back together.